Hello, welcome back. It's Christopher Taylor with Sovereign Harmony. Good to see you again. It's been a while since I did one of these. I think back in December, right before the new year, when I was kind of describing the eclipses coming up, and then also the big Saturn-Pluto conjunction, followed by Jupiter-Pluto conjunction for the rest of the year, and all that energy in Capricorn that would be going on. So I want to review that a little bit here. As we see here, today is Friday, February 28th. There'll be a 29th tomorrow. It's leap year. And we'll be heading into the spring. So March, April, May are on the horizon, and I wanted to not only do a little review of where we're at, but also discuss specifically the Mercury retrograde that we are currently in. So Mercury, as you know, goes retrograde about 3 times per year for about 3 weeks, and since February 16th, we have been in this retrograde for almost 2 weeks now, and we've got about a week and a half left. So from February 16th to March 9th, today's February 28th, so we're right in the middle, kind of the second half of it right now. And this particular Mercury retrograde started at about 13 degrees Pisces on February 16th. It's been moving backwards ever since. It's actually going to re-enter Aquarius next week on March 4th for a couple of weeks to like March 16th or so. So it will go back to Aquarius, stand still for a moment, and then start moving forward again. So we will have a small period where Mercury is back in Aquarius, essentially. And so what this is going to do is kind of shift the themes for this retrograde, okay? So just a quick review first, and that's going back over this Saturn-Pluto conjunction we just had in January, and how this is setting the stage. This is a long-term, once in about 37-year kind of conjunction that really sets a stage for especially in this case, being in Capricorn, for kind of geopolitics in the world, etc., power and how it's organized and structured. The last time it happened was in the early 1980s. There was a Pluto conjunction with Saturn. It wasn't in Capricorn then, but that was the last time they were joined, and that set the stage. If you've seen some of my writings, my previous blog writings, I've talked about that as it relates to global terrorism and how that cycle went. Well, this is a new theme, and so we're not quite sure exactly what the theme is how it's going to play out, but we just know that we've started it here in 2020, right at the top of the first month of 2020, and it's going to last for several decades, essentially. And so what was started here, the precedent that's been started here in especially January of 2020, is something that will be the foundation for how things unravel from here forward over the next few decades. And some of the themes that happened in January, we had the whole Trump impeachment attempts, etc., etc. We had some more going on with Brexit and things like that in Britain, and and then we had this birth of the coronavirus, right? Some people are saying that it's a bioweapon. Some people are saying it's just another epidemic or whatnot. Time will tell, essentially. But these are some of the themes that were going on here over the last several weeks leading up to this Mercury retrograde, and what will set the precedent. I think when Jupiter joins Pluto, Jupiter is also in Capricorn. When it joins Pluto, and that's going to be from the period of about March, so in a few weeks, right up until the fall, this is sort of a time of growing what was implanted essentially in January. So we'll see how things begin to unfold, but again, it's going to take a few decades to really understand the whole pattern of the situation that has been set up here in this year. But look for Jupiter Pluto to expand some things as we move through most of the year 2020. And Jupiter's also now in a sextile to Neptune. If you recall from 2019, the big themes were, what I was saying was zealotry and disclosure, and that's when Jupiter was squaring Neptune. So Jupiter was in Sagittarius, squaring Neptune in Pisces. Now we have Jupiter moved into Capricorn, and it's forming a sextile to that same Neptune in Pisces. And so it's a evolution of the theme from 2019, only in 2020 there's more space for everyone, essentially, and that's really a lot of what this Mercury retrograde has to do with, which is what I wanted to bring that up first. And what I mean by that is, with Jupiter in Sagittarius, there was a lot of zealotry and I'm right and you're wrong kind of an energy in the atmosphere, and it was squaring off with Neptune in Pisces, which made the truth unclear. And so it was just a lot of zealotry and arguing, and who's right, and how can we all be right if you're so wrong, and that kind of an energy theme. Here in 2020, there's more a sense of building on our own truth and allowing space for the truth of others that disagrees with it to exist simultaneously. And that speaks to the theme of sovereign harmony that obviously my whole channel and my website are all themed around this term sovereign harmony. And so I want to talk about how Mercury retrograde is really upholding that theme as well right now. So this specific retrograde, like I said, we have currently Mercury's in Pisces moving backwards. It will re-enter Aquarius here in a few days, in early March, like March 4th, I believe. And for a couple of weeks, it'll be standing still in Aquarius and then moving direct. And that period of pulling back from Pisces, settling into Aquarius before moving forward, the theme of this energy that we're in right now is this theme of, the purpose, I should say, for this Mercury retrograde is to slow down and not get swept up into the masses. The masses being, collective beliefs that may or may not resonate with our own unique sovereign identity. We're allowed to have a sovereign identity and not be wrapped up in a collective identity, which is what identity politics essentially is, if you're familiar with that term. And so, forgive the lawn equipment over there. I'm not sure, I have no control over that. But welcome to Mercury retrograde. Anyway, and so going with the themes of this, there has been, over the last several weeks, we may find ourselves getting swept into certain ideologies, similar to how 2019 was a high degree of zealotry, etc. But we're kind of waking up, if we're paying attention to our own unique needs and our own sovereign senses. There's a sense that what we're being pulled into or dragged with is essentially not representative of our unique self. And so the opportunity here for this retrograde is to slow down, to pull within, and to kind of put our feet on the ground to where we actually resonate, so we can move forward from that as we re-enter the masses. So we want to have something to bring to the masses, something unique. We don't want to just be a carbon copy, a parrot of an ideology that we just copy and try to get others to copy as well, which is what a religion essentially is as well. But there's lots of different forms of religion right now, modern religions, like things like climate change, veganism, whatever it is that people find themselves righteous in defending and moving forward with. But there might be something within a certain individual that can still hold some of those values, but doesn't have to be completely swept up in them to move forward in life. And so we're really being challenged with and given the opportunity with this Mercury retrograde to separate ourselves from the herd. That's really what it's about, separating ourselves from the herd so we can be heard as a unique individual, okay? Because we want to be contributing to the whole, not just get swept up by it, okay? And so again, forgive me for the lawn equipment that they seem to randomly turn on and off here. Doesn't seem to have any rhyme or reason, but it's totally Mercury retrograde, so we would expect that. In any case, so that's really all I have for today. I just wanted to go over this, where we're at now, review the Mercury retrograde, what the themes are for it, and when I see you again in May, probably early to mid-May, I'll talk about the Venus retrograde. So Mercury retrograde again goes retrograde every year for about 3 weeks, 3 times a year. Venus retrograde is about once every 18 months for approximately 6 weeks. And so we do have a Venus retrograde coming up in late May through about early July, and that is going to be all within the sign of Gemini, okay? And so I'll have more details on that Venus retrograde in Gemini the next time I see you. But for now, just remember, Mercury retrograde, right now we're in this new year, different than last year. It's a better year to ground our own individuality amidst the individuality of others that might disagree with ours. To be free, we must disagree, right? And this Mercury retrograde is an opportunity to do that, to hold strong to our truth without having to get pulled apart, essentially, and dissolved by the supposed collective truth that's supposed to define us when we need to be defining ourselves, okay? There's a great quote that I'll probably tag here in the bottom of this video by McKay, and it has something like, men go, they think in herds and go mad in herds, but they wake up one by one, and they come to their senses one by one and slowly. And that's really what this is about, this time to pull back and slowly come to our own senses, so we're not just another copy of the collective, and we're actually contributing something unique. All right, let me know if you have any questions. Christopher Taylor, Sovereign Harmony, signing off. We'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.